Hello and welcome to Out the Gate, and this is where you'll get the weekend's best racing intel in 30 minutes, more or less, definitely more this week. I'm your host, Alex Donnelly, and as always, I'm joined by Gilbert Gardner from the Herald Sun. Gil, we're right into the thick of it now.
Morning, Alex. Yeah, absolutely we are. The weather's turned, the fields are great on Saturday, Melbourne and Sydney. It's actually, how good is this?
This is actually my favourite day of the spring. Like being an ex-Sydney sider, Epsom Day was my favourite day. And of course, as said, it is Epsom Day up in Sydney. Of course, 3 Group 1s, 10 races, and the 2-year-olds do step out for the first time as well. We're joined by Mitch Cohen up in Sydney. G'day, Mitch.
Morning, boys. Yeah, great weekend and daylight savings starts. So those longer spring days will kick in late on Saturday night, also from Sunday onwards, but that's always good. And then we've got the NRL Grand Final, so plenty to look forward to. Let's hope we can find some winners.
And then it's our time to shine for the next sort of 6 weeks, just as we're all racing from here on. And of course, in Melbourne, we've completely moved on already. We know the Storm play on Sunday night, but we have big fields at Flemington. And Turnbull Stakes Day, kind of sort of known as, I guess, the turning point of the spring. If you're not in form now, you're basically cooked for the rest of the season.
Oh, absolutely. It's the fork in the road, the moving day. You can use every single analogy or pun you like. But this is the week. If you don't run well on Saturday, you might as well put a line through your spring. That's basically where that's the cut and drive. And we saw last year, actually, I only noticed that I was looking through the results. And last year, so we had the winner of the Cox Plate, the Caulfield Cup, and the Melbourne Cup all ran in the Turnbull.
Really?
Yeah. So like this is the day. If you're putting on futures bets, wait until you watch the Turnbull and then go for your life.
Well done if you found the Cup winner last year. Of course, we'll probably touch on him later as well. But on today's agenda, we do have the Group 1 feature preview for the Turnbull Stakes. We'll do a deep dive on the Epsom, as well as touching on the Flight Stakes and Metropolitan in Randwick. It is their big day. Of course, the best bets, quaddie legs, and news stories in tomorrow's papers and coming up on the weekend. Before we get started, get around the boys on social media. Racenet tweets on X, Facebook, and Instagram is just at Racenet, so make sure you do that, as well as liking and subscribing on YouTube, getting around all the videos that we're doing. A lot coming up in the coming months, of course. A lot of ward pool action coming your way from the Hong Kong Jockey Club as well. Their season's starting to heat up as well. And of course, all the horses coming out from overseas as well. The first shipment has arrived and the second shipment horses are in quarantine at the moment. So all heating up, of course, in Sydney. But let's get out the gate. Gil, we'll start at Flemington. It's going to be perfect. Rail's going to be out 9 metres. And in shock to no one, Flemington, as long as the rain stays away, it plays great.
Yeah, look, absolutely. No doubt about that. It's a well-worn path, this. The track preparation there is second to none in the world. And we've seen that. So we're going to have a great playing surface as long as Mother Nature plays kind. And we've got great fields across the card. I mean, the Turnbull is the Blue Riband event down here on Saturday. But you look at the rest of the card, it's actually exceptional. I'm talking to people at Flemington. I mean, they're starting to, they're sort of saying it's the best. Yeah. Like it's the best Danehill, it's the best Gilguy, it's the best Bart Cummings. And yes, it's a little bit of marketing sort of pushing, but you look at the fields and you look at the Turnbull. I mean, this is arguably the best Turnbull we've had in a very long time, certainly the deepest. There's always been, 3 or 4 top class horses. I mean, Winks has won the proper horses.
Winks and Hartnell won them a couple of years in a row.
That's right, yeah. So you've always got those top 2, 3. And to be fair, Winks' years, she was scaring a few away. But you look at this field. I mean, throw out a couple of the ones that'll probably be more on Cups trials. I mean, you've got, I don't know what it is, probably 8, 9, 10 individual Group 1 winners in this sort of field. And Via Sistina, of course, has won, I think, 10 on her own.
Yeah, of course. Can't wait to see her on the weekend. But we'll take a look at the speed map. The Turnbull Stakes is the first race that we are going to touch on this week. It's going to be a stark difference for the horses that ran in the Maccabi Diva. Because, well, we're going to have a leader who's probably going to go a little bit harder. And I know on the speed map it doesn't say there, but I also think River of Stars will be going forward with Golden Path.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if there's any statisticians out there. I wouldn't have thought Yulong would have saddled too many $161 chances in their life, would they?
No. Yeah, definitely not.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought so. But River of Stars, yeah, look, lightweight. I mean, look, the only way she's going to contest this sort of field is one way, go forward, isn't it? So roll along. Lightweight. And to be fair, I mean, we're sort of saying, what's this horse doing in this field? But every time you speak to Chris Waller, and we're talking about this off air, every time you speak to Chris Waller, and he's not one to really throw forward for cups and things like that, because let's be honest, yes, it's around the corner, but anything could happen. They could step on a stone tomorrow, and that'll be the end of the carnival. We saw that with Knight's Choice, the veterinary incident at Macedon. But going back to the point, every time you talk to him, River of Stars is the name, the horse that he mentions as a cup horse. So you got to respect her. Look, she can't win on Saturday, let's be honest, but I think she'll go forward. I think she'll run well. and she's probably one to include in your multiples going forward.
And as you can see there, Sir Delius drawing the outside and Via Sistina drawing the inside. We could have like a worst case scenario for both horses. Via Sistina's 4 pairs back, pinned on the fence, and Sir Delius is just caught on a limb doing too much work earlier, because who knows what Young Verda and Deacon are going to do, because I suppose they're trying to run in the top few placings to help. Well, Deacon's already in the Melbourne Cup. He needs to get fit. Young Verda needs to do something if he's going to run in one of the better races in the spring.
Yeah, well, he's placed in this race before, Young Verta, so he knows his way around a Turnbull, no problems at all. So I'd be respecting him. I mean, is anybody, and I know Mitch will probably say something, he'd probably find the 10th best Sydney jockey that'll be the best in the world, but no one's riding better than Craig Williams at the moment. And you look at the way he's handled his Group 1 races of late, so absolute clinics he's been putting on, and he's been winning them, right? So, and Sir Delius, that is a challenge from out there, but, I'll have faith. I mean, the horse has got the tactical speed. It is interesting that they've switched to this race, which makes me think that they must seriously think
he's a Cox Plate horse.
He's a proper Cox Plate horse. I think the Underwood, speaking to Gay post Underwood and even days after, it was Might and Power, Cox Plate, Melbourne Cup. And all of a sudden, here we are against the reigning Australian Horse of the Year Cox Plate winner. We got Aeliana, the rising star. So this could be a sign of intent here. I reckon they must think that they're a sneaky chance at the last Cox Plate at the Valley proper.
Well, we were there on the Sunday morning at Flemington at the open day, and she was like, yep, Might and Power. I'm like, she's going back to Caulfield. And all of a sudden it's changed to this, which I think is a great decision. They've probably reflected on it, gone, getting to Flemington, it's probably much better suited. But we're going to take a look at the replay. The only replay we're going to look at in this race is, of course, the Maccabi Diva Stakes, where you do have a few of the horses coming out here. 4 of them do come out of it as well. So you see here, they're going around the turn. Brightside has he's led at a dead set canter pace on a Tuesday morning at track work, and everyone's expecting Blake Shin to do something. He's not, so they've got goals down the line. And even here, you're probably thinking, Via Sistina's travelling well, but Brightside just did absolutely no work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clinic.
Absolutely. It was all over well before the turn, those fractions that he sent. I thought Antino was actually a good run, probably as good as Via. I mean, Aeliana was super, because this was well short of her best.
Yeah. Gotta love how she pins her ears back.
She does, and I think, like I've tipped, and we'll go down a bit later. I mean, I've tipped Via Sistina. I've got to go with the champ.
Yep.
But I tell you what, the heir apparent, and they won't admit that necessarily just yet, because Via is still Via.
Yep.
And Aeliana could be Via next year, but could she knock her off?
She could. We're just going to quickly hear from Chris Waller as well on Tuesday morning at Flemington.
You'd expect a decent hit out on Saturday from all the runners, wouldn't you?
We'd like to be winning the race on Saturday with all runners. It's a great fork in the road. There's no backing out. Occasionally we'll use it to say, we're going to the Caulfield Cup or Cox Plate, or completely missing the target. But I think, no real surprises. Just as long as they're running well, they've got to be in good form going towards the big targets.
I think the main thing to take out of that is they are all ready to go.
No, that's right. That's right. And Via's she's at the benchmark, right? So she's the one that they've all got to catch. Something just keeps making me go back to Aeliana, because I think Chris has got that twinkle in the eye when he talks about her, because he knows that she's the one for next year, all being well. And I just wonder, I don't know, Mitch might be one here to throw to, because it was quite interesting that he's basically made the captain's call and brought James Cummings. James clearly wanted to ride up in Sydney on Saturday.
Did he?
Obviously 3 Group 1s. Yeah, he has the that $1.60 autumn glow in the what is that, in the Epsom?
Yep.
So that was a big call, right? So he wanted to ride in Sydney, 3 Group 1s instead of 1 Group 1 in Melbourne. We know James is collecting a heap of Group 1s.
More money in Sydney too.
More money in Sydney, but Chris goes, hang on, come down here. We need you to ride Via. Now, I guess is she going as well as last year?
Yeah.
Of course she is, but. I don't know. There's a little bit of, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is Aeliana the one?
Well, it's a good thing we can throw up to Mitch right now, because, Mitch, what are you hearing out of Sydney about that? Just given J-Mac, obviously, Autumn Glow unbeaten, Epsom's worth $1.5 million, but he's been with Via all the way through.
Well, I don't think you read too much into it. You just look through Autumn Glow's form and you see that she's probably the most exciting and progressive mare in the country, so there's every reason to stick with her, but it's James McDonald. He's always going to be spoilt for choice, isn't he? And she's the reigning horse of the year for a reason, Via Sistina. So him sticking with her is, I guess, no downgrade whatsoever. She's the favourite in a Group 1 down there, but he would have had a fair book up here. There's no doubt about it.
So with that being said, who are you tipping in the Turnbull Stakes?
With Via Sistina, but I agree with Gil. There's not much between these mares of Chris Waller's in Aeliana and Via Sistina. She's the heir apparent really, in terms of these sort of 2000, especially getting up to this trip. I mean, look, you can put much between them in their past 2 runs. You could look through the form lines. You can line them up directly, can't you? They ran into each other in the Wink Stakes. Via Sistina obviously had her number on that occasion. It was about a half a length between them on that occasion. Last start, I mean, we've spoke about it enough. That was just a dead set joke. Mr. Brightside, to get in the queue if you backed him, absolutely outstanding if you were, but it just didn't suit Via Sistina, did it? So it's going to suit her a lot more on Saturday. The 2,000 metres, we know it's a sweet spot. She's won 2 of 2 at the 2,000 metres there at Flemington. She's obviously won a Queen Elizabeth at the 2,000 metres here in Sydney, and a Cox Plate as well. So this is her sweet spot. I think she wins on Saturday, but Aeliana will be close up, and no potting Sir Delius. He's a serious horse, and you won't hear me potting Craig Williams-Gill. He's not just one of the best jockeys in the country, but you've got to be admiring for his longevity. He's been one of the best jockeys in the country for a long, long period, and I think he's on a serious horse. It's just a matter of where he gets to from the gate on Saturday, but I'll stay with the champ. But cracking race, boys, cracking race.
You sticking with it, Gil?
Yeah, look, I'm much the same. Yeah, exactly what Mitch said. You just got to stick with the champ, reigning horse of the year for a reason, wins the Cox Plate and the hand canter. Aeliana will be charging. Good challenger, but yeah, you got to go with the champ.
Yeah, I'm going to have something on Aeliana and Sir Delius just because this is the chance to back him to beat her, because she could just get buried on the fence from the gate. But J-Mac, he never gets buried on the fence in these situations. Like we've seen it with her. We've seen it with Romantic Warrior. He's drawn 1 in big fields. Doesn't matter. He finds the 1-1 every time.
That's right. That's right.
We'll get to Sydney for the big day up there. Of course, it is Epsom Stakes Day there. So I'm assuming the weather's good, Mitch, but the rail's going to be in the true position. As of the moment, we are on a good 4 surface.
Yeah, it should be cracking. Yeah, it's absolutely stunning outside. I'd rather be in a beer garden or at the beach, to be honest, than in the office. But here we are. It's a cracking day's racing. It looks like the weather's going to be pretty similar towards the weekend, actually getting a bit warmer. So spring has really set in. It should be, as you said, the rail back in the true position. We should have a good track. We've got to have a lot of racing at Randwick in the coming weeks. Now we go back to Rose Hill, and then it's Randwick. So look, let's hope the track plays fair, because it's going to get a bit of work. But yeah, you're right. It's a fantastic day of racing. The 3 Group 1s, the Metrop, of course, which is a bit more wide open. I think you've got the 2 favourites in the Flight Stakes and the Epsom, which I think will both be very hard to beat. Look, I'm with Autumn Glow in the Epsom Handicap. I think she's just a mare on the up, and I don't think we've seen the best of her yet. She's, as I said before, I think she's the most exciting mare in the country, and for good reason. She's won 6 of 6. Now, this Group 1 is really 12 months to the day in waiting. She was odds-on favourite for a Flight Stakes last year when she had that little setback in the lead-up. Chris won the race anyway with Lady Shenandoah. She's sort of been biding her time to get to this Group 1. This is the Group 1 they want. I think she wins it on Saturday. I think barrier 14 is a little bit tricky, but we look back last year, Chow won from barrier 14, so we'll put it in the reliable hands of Karen McAvoy to get the job done on a very classy mare, and I think her class will take a very long way on Saturday.
Mitch has just jumped all over me. I had some stats ready for the barriers as well, because as soon as she drew 14, you knew people were going to go, oh, it's so bad that she drew 14. But got some stats, and shout out to a friend of mine, Wayne Bristow. Epsom, 12 of the last 21 winners have drawn double-figure barriers, and we'll also throw the Doncaster, basically the same race, just run in April. 12 of the last 22 winners have drawn double-figure barriers. So don't be worried about the barriers. You're just going to get a better price about Autumn Glow on the weekend if you're keen on her.
I may as well put a line through my tip.
Well, you see on the speed map, though, because they've got her going back to last year. I don't think she'll go back to last. I wouldn't be shocked if they do take the chance and try and roll a little bit further forward, because there isn't a lot of pace other than, I suppose, Pericles is definitely going to roll forward. We know what he's going to do. Fully Lit will probably try to do the same, and I'm not sure what El Castillo is going to do, but Magnetar puts himself on speed. There is probably a spot. If she gets midfield 3 wide with cover, well, she's just going to kill them, though. But you're looking elsewhere.
Yeah, look, I'm going with Pericles. I just think he's just more seasoned. This is, he's been around these sort of levels for a long time. He's always sort of promised to sort of be a horse on the up. I know Godolphin's always had a very high opinion of him. And, I guess he's probably been that maybe rung and a half below the real top class horses. And I think he just gets his chance. And I mean, I must admit, I was siding more so on the barrier. I thought his first up win was super.
It's career peak.
Who was it? There you go. So, it just looked like an ominous run. It looked like a horse that has all of a sudden just matured. He says, here I am. How good am I? We'll find out by the end of the carnival. As I said, I don't think we're we're not seeing a Cox Plate horse or anything like that in particular, but I think a race like this is well within his grasp. Just has had a bit more seasoning, nicer barrier. Last start winner, can't complain with that. And yeah, and I'm probably potting the barrier, but now you said the stats, well, Autumn Glow all the way.
Yeah, I think it means if you like Autumn Glow, you're probably going to get a better price. And just wait, because if a few things towards the inside are winning, they'll just keep pushing her out because she's drawn 14. But she does look one of the most progressive mares in the country. Now, we'll have a look at the other two Group 1s. We'll touch on the Flight Stakes first, Mitch, because obviously one of your value bets later in the day does come up in the Metrop. But the Flight Stakes, it looks pretty simple once you get through these sort of Princess series. Is once one of them starts winning, they usually keep on doing it. Apocalyptic's odds on.
Yeah, if she wasn't odds on, I probably would have made a best bet on the program, but we're not in the business of making odds on Pop's best bets. But if she does get out to even money, I think it's just load up. I think she's a serious filly. I made one of the best bets a few weeks ago, and with good reason. She's a genuine star. She absolutely dominated that T-Rose, and she faces most of the horses she did on that occasion in this. It's hard to see any of them turning the tables on her if she sees out the mile, which everyone from the camp are confident that she does. She probably ran 1,500 metres the other day. Tommy Berry just caught a bit deep, but she still had way too much class for her. I think she's a genuine star. I think she wins on Saturday, Apocalyptic.
Got any lean in that, Gil, or we're just watching and letting it go?
Yeah, watching and letting it go.
Metropolitan, one of the better races on the card. We do have 18 going around, 2 scratchings already with Strathay and Adelaide River coming out. But this is where one of your value bets of the day comes up, Mitch. It's a very interesting race because thanks to Vauban, this weight, we have a legitimate top weight, which is great. But we have, about 8 or 9 horses on the bottom weight of 50 kilos. And Zach Lloyd's going to be riding half a kilo over on the likely favourite Soul of Spain. So just an old school handicap here.
Yeah, that's right. And if we want to get the value bet out of the way now, I'll do it. It's race 9, number 10, Etna Rosso for me. Look, I think the run in the Kingston Town was excellent. He got back and really he was the strongest through the line. Got towards the fence and was hitting the line really well. It was a perfect lead-up run for this race, which he ran well in last year. He ran 5th in this race last year off a win in the Newcastle Cup. I think he's just ticking on nicely. And we speak about barriers. Now, the barriers in the Metropolitan have been pivotal in the last couple of years. In the last decade, only one horse has won outside barrier 8 or 9, I believe. No, only one horse in double digits. I know that much for sure. And that was Montefilia. She got caught 3 deep and only just fell in. So he's going to get every chance with the 50 kilos from barrier 2 with Jay Ford on board. Chris Waller, obviously, he's always going to have a strong hand in this race, and he does again. I've got a lot of respect for Soul of Spain. He's a horse really on the up. He won that Newcastle Cup, that same form line that Etna Rosso come through last year. He's racing really well. I think he's a big chance. Birdman, the win in the Kingston Town was good, but the barrier just makes it life a little bit stickier, and I think it brings him back to a few of his rivals. So Etna Rosso for me in the Metropolitan, that's the value play of the day.
Don't think he could have predicted Soul of Spain was going to be favourite in the Metrop when he was getting rolled at Ballarat in April in a 78, could you? Anyway, we'll move on from that because obviously 10 good races on the day there, but we've got to get onto the best bets across the weekend. And Gil, yours at Flemington. I reckon this horse is the most intriguing horse in the country running on Saturday. The wraps are big. He delivered on debut, and you're going again in the Danehill.
Yeah, look, Rosberg, I just think it just looks a nice race for him. I don't know whether, the wraps are massive. I don't know whether he's going to win the Coolmore.
He wins the Coolmore, he's worth a fortune.
There's a lot of people that have tickets on the Coolmore at big prices and are almost lining up in the queue. Now, I think that might be a little bit premature. We know anything can happen in racing. But I think this race here looks very nice for him. Basically went around, when was it? Last Friday. They had the VRC did horse proper gallops for these Coolmore type Danehill horses. And Rosberg basically just went out there in just double wraps. Yeah, just was purely there for a look. I almost thought Ben Melbourne was going to jump off at the 200 to try and just bring him back a bit because it was just getting a bit silly. So Tentris is obviously the massive danger. We've seen Mark Zara has jumped off Griffo's horse, Legacy Bound. Now he's won the last 2 on that horse and he's jumped onto the Tentris, who we have spoken about previously as sort of being maybe that under the radar Everest horse potential for Godolphin if it comes out and romps in, but who knows? But yeah, look, I just think Rosberg, untapped. We don't know how good he is. Clinton McDonald always has a good horse. And when he pumps, he's always optimistic, but when he really pumps them, they're good horses.
He's like, oh yeah, I've got a good horse. But these guys, no, this is a serious horse.
That's right. And as you said, he'll be worth anything if he does get that Group 1. Just
with that, so if it's all system goes to the Coolmore for him, but if Tentris. Could you see it getting the Godolphin slot? Obviously, Baywalks came out and won well last week. Mitch, have you got any news on that as well?
I'd be surprised. I think he'd have to come out and blow them away. I think you've got the two out of the Golden Rose now. I know Godolphin plan to make a decision sort of Monday, Tuesday next week. They'll sit down and decide after that. But if he'd have to come out and be very good, because we saw what Tempter did over the Randwick 1,200 metres in that run to the Rose. She was excellent. Bayvox come out and broke the track record over the 1,400 in the Golden Rose last weekend. So I think they're the two we're looking at, but he could be something out of the box. He's got to come out there and do it. But I think the two in Sydney at the moment are the ones we're probably going to look at.
I think it's weird. I think I'm looking forward to the Danehill the most on the weekend. But Mitch, we'll get to your best bet. You're just playing that same song again. It was a winner last start at Randwick. It was your best bet last start too.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with her. It is probably a little bit of a risk. It's race 5, number 19, Idle Fly. Look, she's jumping from a benchmark 78, I believe, into a 94 here. That I don't believe. That's actually a fact. She is jumping up in grade here, but I think she's just a really progressive mare. And you know what they say about mares in form. They generally hold that purple patch, and I think she can. She savaged the line in that 1,400 metre event the other day. She just sort of got boxed in. Tommy Berry was on Bohemian. He said maybe pilot error. I should have probably kept her in a little bit longer. But when she got clear and Zach Lloyd got clear air, she just exploded and was way too good for them and toyed with them. So I think the mile should be really suiting her nicely. She just really attacked the line the other day. So I'm happy to be with her. She carries a lightweight in this. It is up in grade, but I think this is just sort of a gateway, get her rating up so she can get in potentially a stakes race and get some black type later on in the carnival. But yep, Idle Fly for me.
Gil, your next best, a horse you've just been with all the way through, just like keep on winning because you need to keep on winning.
That's basically right, isn't it? I mean, that's the recipe. And you look at some of these, like Revelare. I mean, I've noticed he's actually been crunched, but he's a horse that doesn't need to win.
Yeah.
So he's, I'm not saying that he can't win, but Revelare.
They don't need to try.
They of course, everyone has to try, of course. But
yes, but it's not the be-all and end-all if Revelare doesn't win the Bart Cummings on the weekend, but for Gilded Water, it is.
That's exactly right. So down and then it's carried big weights, so 61 kilos and 58 kilos, 58 and a half, I think. The last two starts has raced super off a long break. Now it's third up. Now the engine is sort of warm.
And thank God it snuck in the field.
And thank God it snuck in the field. And now he gets his chance to get the golden ticket. Now it's not going to be a cakewalk because Berkshire Breeze, Marmona, I thought Bur Dubai, if you go back and watch the replay of Bur Dubai, that was very unlucky last start. Drawn out could be a benefit because it got sort of strung up in traffic last start. Sadati. I think Berkeley Square is another horse that I've almost sacked, but I might give it one more chance in a multiple. So it's not an easy race. It's quite a bit up in grade for Gilded Water. But again, Kieran was talking about Melbourne Cups in February with this horse, and it gets a bit harder. If he doesn't get the ticket on Saturday, all of a sudden then you're starting to divert into your country cups, your Moonee Valley Gold Cup. You're going to start sort of racing the clock. Where I think King Charles and Queen Camilla, I think they'll have a golden ticket on Saturday.
Hopefully Charles can wake up nice and early to watch it there. Mitch, your next best comes up in race 4 at Randwick, the Dulcify.
Yeah, that's right. It's number 1 without peer for me. I think he's still working out what the caper is all about. I think you're going to find that he's a better horse in the autumn, but what he's doing right now, I think he's just done on talent alone, and he's done it pretty well. He was close to beating Ninja and 2 starts ago. It was a terrific run over the 1,300 metres. He stepped into stakes grade in that Ming Dynasty. He was doing his best work late, I thought, in that race. Now, he's got stakes form. A lot of these horses that he's facing on Saturday, well, a few of them in the market anyway, stepping out of provincial grade. And I know that, I guess, in this time of year and when you've got a 3-year-old, they're going to have to start somewhere, and you're going to find a lot of these horses stepping out of sort of provincial grade into these stakes races. But he was good in that Ming Dynasty. Looked like a horse that's going to really like a mile. I think without peer, he's a good chance and potentially heading towards those spring champions and races like that as well. But I think in the autumn, he'll be the horse that you can really follow. But on Saturday, I think he can win as well.
And some value bets on the weekend. Of course, we've already heard Mitch's. It comes up in the Metropolitan race 9, number 10, Etna Rossa for Waller and Jay Ford. But Gil, yours is going to be big odds. And if it runs a drum, you're going to get well paid.
Yeah, Deacon. Speaking of horses that he's already got a ticket into the Melbourne Cup, so we know where he's going. And I just think Philip Stokes has this twinkle in the eye. When Philip Stokes likes one, he doesn't talk a lot, Philip. He's very measured with his comments to the media. But you can sometimes tell with a twinkle in the eye, and there's a twinkle in the eye about Deacon. I just think he's ready to run a massive race. I've got this fear that it'll be like one of those slashing fourth, so we're not going to get any money out of it. So I'm putting it in as a value play because I just have to at 67, 60, $60, $70, and you probably get $10 a drum. So I just think he's tuned up. I think he'll get the good track that he needs. So he needs a good track. I think there's should be good speed in the race. So he'll get a genuine tempo. Drawn out, probably some concern there, but I think he'll be charging home late. And what we said off the top, this is the fork in the road. And if he's going as well as they think he is towards the Melbourne Cup, he will run a super race on Saturday.
I like it. Well, we've got to talk about the quaddies as well because the Turnbull is a leg of the quaddie. And let's just say Friday night wasn't great for anyone. So not just you. We can't blame it on you. No one had a good night. If you did, well done to you. You owe everyone a beer. Give us your quaddie for the weekend, Gil.
Yes. No, we did struggle. I think they had a priest on the winning post there christening the horses as I was crossing the line. It was that bad for me on Friday night. It didn't get much better on Saturday, to be fair. But
you did give us Evaporate, which was great for the halftime punters.
Yes, we did sneak that. Geez, didn't he just get there? But anyway, we got the job done somewhat. But no, look, on Saturday, so the first leg we've gone 1, 6 and 15. Race 8, of course, the Turnbull. I've gone a bit bold here. I've just gone the champ one out. I think that might be silly. And wait until you see Mitch's quaddie numbers. I mean, we might as well just go on the field. But anyway, we'll get to that a bit later on, Mitch. We've had a big slash there. But the third leg, 1, 2 and 17. And we'll come home with 3, 4, 5 and 9. So I think that gets you for $100 to about 300 times the quaddie.
277.77 to be exact.
There you go. And if you are a little bit not as bold, you can put Aeliana in as
Sir Delius, maybe.
No, it's out of the top 2.
Oh, out of the top 2. There you go. Yeah. In fairness to Mitch, he does have the Metropolitan to deal with, so I'll give him some leeway there. But give us your quaddie this weekend, Mitch.
Yeah, I'll tell Gil how quaddies work. It's basically, so we times 2 in the first leg by 1, so that means 2 combinations. So that's the way I've started here. I've started with just a couple of numbers. So we're starting with the Premier Stakes. I've just thrown in Jimmy Star and Briasa. It's obviously that Everest lead-up run for those 2 horses. I think they're right there. I've left out Private Harry at my peril potentially, but they're the 3 horses that are going to fight out this race. They're all 3 of them are going to be heading towards the Everest, and they need to be running well here to be any chance of being competitive in that race. So we've gone 1 and 2. We've stood out the 4 Autumn Glow. I think she just wins. She'll overcome the barrier. This is where we get a bit funky, Gil. I know you like it. We've got 1, 2, 4, 7, 9, 10, 15 and 16. So we've got a bit wide in the Metrop, but let's hope it can throw up a result, and that's why our best value play is there. And in the last 2, 8, 9, 10 and 17 now, potentially the 17 might come out with races next week. So we'll wait and see on that. So we may even get better combinations there, Gil. It'll be about 64 combinations. About $64 will get you 100%.
Yeah, well, right now, $100 gets you 125%. We didn't touch on that Premier Stakes, Mitch. I'm just going to ask it nice and bluntly. If Private Harry runs like a busted, will he line up in the Everest?
Well, it's hard to know because I guess Yulong's other horse is already in the race, isn't he? So you've got to change it. I think if he runs, I think he's there to run well. To be honest, I think he wasn't at his best the other day, but he did have legitimate excuses. There was issues in the barrier. Then he had to play the role of chaser. He had to do the work early to play the chaser against Marzu, and then just folded up. Now he was first up. He is a big fella, so he's going to strip fitter. I think he will bounce back. Whether he can win on Saturday, I think you'll see a much improved performance. I'm not with him on Saturday, but I think you will see a much improved performance. And if he's finishing sort of top 3, top 4, I think you're going to go that way because we're only 2 weeks out for the Everest, and then you've got to all of a sudden find another horse, which is hard to do. So at his best, he's certainly, he was second favourite for the Everest before his first up run. So I think he bounces back. I think you see him in the Everest. It's just a matter of if he can win that race.
Don't think he can win either, to be honest. But anyway, around the grounds, a bit of news going on, Gil. So obviously this week in Melbourne, we had the Strangles outbreak up at Macedon. The reigning Melbourne Cup champ is out for the spring. But what else is going on?
Oh, a bit going on. There's just so many good races on Saturday, so we're just really focusing in on the racing. My colleague Brad Waters, he's of course cheered on the world champion. We got that wrong last week too. I think I tipped Geelong, but
I think we all did.
Yes, so the world champion Brisbane Lions. So Brad's been up and about all week, and we have to put up with him for another 12 months, unfortunately.
They're probably going to win next year as well.
They are bloody good. But yes, anyway, so look, he had a good chat to Gay Waterhouse. So we'll look forward to reading all about that. Obviously, Sir Delius, of course, the 2-year-old. Couldn't believe it, Mitch. I think she's trifected the 2-year-old race up there. I think the Colts race, the last 2 years, she's trifected it. She declared a 2-year-old to win down here in Melbourne, and I'm not sure how many she's got in the race up in Sydney on Saturday, but I'm sure they're all going to win a triple dead heat maybe as well. But yeah, so we got a bit of that. We got a little bit of Gilded Water to look forward to. It's just a big week of racing.
And Mitch, what about up in Sydney? Of course, the 2-year-olds do kick off, and that horse that Gay's declaring is Knightsbridge. It's the only one she's got in a colt by Farnham. But what's going on up in Sydney?
Well, she's got the favourite in the breeders as well, boys. Eviction Notice and the second favourite in that race. But if you watch the 2-year-old trials up here, it was a Gay and Adrian show. So it looks like they've got a lot of good 2-year-olds. We know, was it 2 seasons ago, they had so many, I think they had 6 runners in the Golden Slipper that year. So I know it's a long way out from the Golden Slipper, but it does look like they've got a nice crop of 2-year-olds, and we know what sort of job Gay and Adrian could do with those 2-year-olds. Fantastic job. So that'll be kicking off on Saturday. You won't find me betting in those 2-year-old races, that's for sure. It can be a bit of a lottery. We don't know what's coming to the table there, so we'll leave those alone. But Race had a great chat with Chris Waller about Autumn Glow and just about the mare. I mean, she's really sort of been this horse that Chris has spoke about in glowing terms for more than 12 months now. It's just, you don't often hear him sort of go out of his way to sort of go, no, this is a serious horse, but he has often with this mare, and we're just waiting to see her finally produce it at a Group 1, in a Group 1 race, which we will get the opportunity on Saturday. So it'll be all about her in tomorrow's paper, but of course, as is always the case, I feel like a broken record, but we only need to do it for 2 more weeks. It'll be Everest talk, of course, with the premiere on Saturday. The 3 horses there that are heading towards the Everest in Briasa, Jimmy Star and Private Harry. They're going to put it all on the line there on Saturday as they look towards that Everest and that clash with Ka Ying Rising. But we'll be interested to see what happens down there in Melbourne with War Machine. If he can run well, there are still slots available. I know Gil's been pushing his cause for about 6 weeks now, but certainly with the horses that are left on the table outside of the mares that ran so well in that Manikato, he's got to be certainly in the conversation for one of those remaining slots.
Yeah, well, you read about that in tomorrow's Herald. So I just go back over my notes then to work out what stories I did have coming for this weekend. But that's exactly right. No, the Hayes Camp, and won't that be a day for them? I mean, we'll cover that down the track in Sydney. But you got the favourite for the Everest. You'll have Brightside in a King Charles, and you might have War Machine in an Everest or in that second, whatever that second race is.
Sydney Stakes.
The Sydney Stakes. So could be a pretty decent night out for the Lindsay Park.
Smart. Just go for the Sydney Stakes. Clean up the 3 big races. I think that's about 28 million bucks in prize money. Not a bad day.
Yeah, we will see the Everest winner.
That King Charles, boys, is shaping as one of the races of the carnival, though, isn't it now? After Pride of Jenny did what she did the other day. If she's to come up, and you've got Mr. Brightside there, Fangirl, obviously terrific the other day, and if Chow Wolf runs well and he's back to his best on Saturday, he'll be there defending his crown. So just a cracking mile race, and probably one of the better carnival moves to move that race back and put it on Everest Day, because it's going to be a worthy undercard to the Everest.
Golden Eagle winner Lake Forest will be running in it too. He's in quarantine at the moment, so it just adds to it as well. Tony Bloom and his crew in England. Apparently they're tipping it up pretty strong for that race. It'll be interesting to see. But before we do wrap up, I do need to mention that Racenet has recently launched Star Ratings. Star Ratings help you quickly identify standout data points for runners relative to others in the race. As a default, Racenet will display 3-star ratings only. It's a simple 3-2-1 method. Obviously, 3 is the best, 2 is the next, 1 is next, so on and so forth. Not all data points will be relevant for every race. Star Ratings does take this into account and will only highlight the relevant data points that will apply to each race. For example, Star Ratings will not highlight exceptional good track statistics if the race has been run on a heavy track. Now, the Star Ratings are free until the 6th of October. After that, you do need a Racenet IQ membership, so you can get your shortcut to finding informed runners with Racenet Star Ratings. Check them out today, and also sign up for a Racenet IQ membership. Quickly to wrap up this week, the boys are keen on Via Sistina in the Turnbull. In the Epsom, Gil is on Pericles. Mitch likes Autumn Glow. Best bet for Gil is a Roseberg. Next best is Gilded Water. The value play is Deacon. Mitch likes Idle Flyer, Without Peer, and Etna Rosso. And of course, social media, follow Gil at Gilbert Gardner on Twitter. Mitch is at Mitch RW Cohen, and Racenet is at Racenet. Tweets plenty going up at the moment. A lot of breaking news coming out this week. course, make sure you do get around at the YouTube as well. Like and subscribe there as well. So anytime we do a video, it does pop up on your feed. And anytime you do like a video, it does pop up in the For You page for other people on YouTube. So it does help us out. And of course, all the social media plugs as well. And the podcast platform is out. Just type in Out the Gate wherever you get your good podcasts. We are on podcast platforms. For those who, let's be honest, they don't want to see two bad mustaches and Gills. I don't know what kind of shirt that is this one. Is that Paisley? I don't know what's going on there.
I'm not here for fashion, mate.
Could use an extra button, I reckon.
It's getting nice and warm here at the moment. Don't worry. But Gil, thanks, mate.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Mitch.
Cheers, boys.
Of course, good luck this weekend on a massive week on the punt this weekend, but we'll catch you next week on Out the Gate.